Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's going on? So DEMETRIUS ANDRADE and Billy Joe Saunders, they've been going back and forth lately talking about, a possible fight that I believe they're trying to make happen next month. I don't know if there is an official date that they're aiming for, but I've been hearing a lot of talk about Billy Joe Saunders and DEMETRIUS ANDRADE fighting next month in February. And you know what, man, this thing, to be honest with y'all, this thing has been dragging along for too long, in my opinion. These guys should have been fought. The first time that they had the fight scheduled, ready to go, Billy Joe Saunders got popped for drugs, performance enhancement drugs. He's another one of those guys, drug cheats. And, he got popped for drugs, man. And after talking all that stuff, talking about, he ready to just put hands and feet on DEMETRIUS ANDRADE. And Andrade, I can't put this on Andrade. Now we're gonna go in depth deep in both these guys' history as far as fights not being made. But in this particular case, this was all Billy Joe Saunders. The fight was signed, sealed, and almost delivered until he popped for them drugs. You know what I'm saying? And DEMETRIUS ANDRADE ended up having to settle for a fill-in guy, which tough, but I'm really growing impatient with a lot of these boxers and these fights not happening. And for this fight, this is just another one of those fights that should have happened a long time ago. So we know about the reason why the fight didn't happen the first time, but let's talk about the history of both Billy Joe Saunders and DEMETRIUS ANDRADE. Now, neither one of these guys really have any big wins, no marquee wins, no big wins, no signature wins, nothing really credible on their resume that makes them stand out from anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Now, we know both guys are skilled. Both guys undefeated, which really don't mean shit as far as the undefeated. That shit don't mean nothing, to be quite honest with you. The fans like to make it mean some. The fighters like to think that it means some. It might be a marketing tool that you can use to sell a fighter or a fight, but truthfully, the undefeated shit don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can be undefeated if you ain't goddamn fought nobody. You know what I'm saying? So let's just keep it 100. But, both these guys undefeated, but they are both very, very skilled fighters. DEMETRIUS ANDRADE is one of the best fighters in the sport of boxing, bar none. When you talk about just pure skill and an eye test. Now, he ain't been really tested in the ring, versus an elite guy that we feel is on that level. But he is a very, very, very skilled fighter. He has the physical attributes and dimensions that make him a tough out for anybody. Billy Joe Saunders, very, very skilled fighter. Very, very swift on his feet, fast hands, a very smart, intelligent boxer. Very, very skilled. Love to watch these guys fight. They are on that level of master boxers. You know what I'm saying? And you can't call everybody a master boxer, but they own that level when it comes to the sweet signs. You could tell that they really understand the sweet signs. Now, as far as with the history of these guys not getting big fights, let's talk about DEMETRIUS ANDRADE. Now, DEMETRIUS ANDRADE had a fight signed and sealed, almost delivered. This was basically the same shit that you can call it karma. This is basically the same shit that Billy Joe Saunders pulled on DEMETRIUS ANDRADE. DEMETRIUS ANDRADE pulled this shit on Jermell Charlo years ago at 154. DEMETRIUS ANDRADE had a fight signed and sealed, ready to go with Jermell Charlo. And then out of nowhere, he drops out of the fight due to like some management issues. I think he switched from his original management and then went on to Rock Nation. He switched from somebody and then went on to somebody else. And I'm guessing that they advised him, no, don't fight Jermell Charlo. Something happened to where the fight didn't happen. And that's the reason people ask all the time, well, why Jermell Charlo ain't fighting DEMETRIUS ANDRADE? That shit that shit transcend. I agree that they should put that bullshit aside and make the fight happen. Beat his ass if you feel some type of way. But that shit transcend boxing. That shit more on some personal stuff, because that was a huge opportunity for Jermell Charlo, for him to put that type of guy, because people know Boo Boo Andrade from the amateurs. He's a well-respected fighter. So that would have been a huge name on Jermell Charlo's resume if he would have stayed in that fight, because it was already there. It was signed and sealed. The shit just didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So Demetrius Andrade left, bro, left him hanging. You know what I'm saying? He left Jermell Charlo hanging, and now y'all wonder why it's beef between the Charlos and Andrade. Now you wonder why Jamal Charlo like, man, fuck Andrade. I don't want to fight him. You know what I'm saying? You seen how he did my brother. I can't respect him. Why would I give him a fight when he had a fight signed with Jermell and he fucking dropped out of the fight for nothing? You know what I'm saying? So I can't even feel sorry for him with what Billy Joe Saunders did to him, because that's karma. You did the same shit to Jermell Charlo. So who's really to blame as to why Andrade ain't getting no fights? Because he could have had a fight. Jermell Charlo right now is he undisputed in my eyes. Texero or Castano can't fuck with it. Can't nobody at 154 beat Jermell Charlo, period. He's the man in that division. He got all the belts but one. You know what I'm saying? But he's the unified champion. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to call Telefimo undefeated, got undisputed, then goddamn Jermell Charlo. But I'm keeping it 100. Neither one of them is undisputed. You know what I'm saying? But Jermell Charlo is the unified champion. He is the man, the number one fighter in that division. Imagine if Boo Boo Andrade had that guy on his resume as a win. You know what I'm saying? So it's his fault that he's not getting big fights. Partially his fault. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's talk about Billy Joe Saunders. Why he ain't getting no big fights? Well, I recall, do y'all remember when Billy Joe Saunders was in line, next man up to fight Gennady Golovkin? Y'all remember what that man said? He blatantly and openly ducked Gennady Golovkin. Billy Joe Saunders said, and I quote, "Fight Gennady Golovkin? He'll beat me and everybody else ass in the same night." This man literally said that he don't want to fight Triple G. He said he'll whoop my ass and another fighter ass in the same night. Billy Joe Saunders said this shit out his mouth. He openly ducked Triple G. That's a huge fight that you could have had on your resume. I don't want to hear shit about neither one of these dudes not getting no big fights, because they turning them down. When they getting the opportunities to get these names on their resume, they not making this shit happen. And this shit ain't got nothing to do with no contracts. It ain't got nothing to do with being lowball. It ain't got nothing to do with none of that bullshit. These guys are literally just not fighting. You know what I'm saying? They just not taking the fights. Now, you want somebody to feel sorry for you because here it is. You ain't got no names on your resume. You ain't really making the money that you could possibly be making. You feeling left out and shit. It ain't nobody's fault but yours. So these two dudes need to go ahead and make this fight happen. I think it's a great fight. You got two skilled guys. You got Billy Joe Saunders, who's going to be predominantly boxing on the outside. You know, sometimes he mix it up, but he's predominantly going to be boxing on the outside. You got Demetrius Andrade, the southpaw, who's a very, very good outboxer, but he's a little bit more aggressive. You know what I'm saying? And he a little bit more reckless. So that's what's going to make the fight fun to watch, because Demetrius Andrade going to come forward on him. You know what I'm saying? He going to try to close the distance and try to land shots. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be half chess match, half dog fight, one of those type of fights. So it's a good fight. And both guys, Demetrius Andrade is a champion at 160 and Billy Joe Saunders is champion at 168. So I believe that the fight is going to happen at 168 for Billy Joe Saunders' title. And then hopefully that sets up, you know, a fight between the winner and Canelo, or maybe the winner and Caleb Plant, or David Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? There's so many fights that could be made. These dudes just got to make the shit happen. You know what I'm saying? The reason why these two dudes don't have no big names on their resume, no real credible opponents, you know what I'm saying, it's their own fault. Because they both could have had fights. It's their own fault. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see this fight. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. What do y'all think about this matchup? Do y'all really think this shit gonna happen? Or you think they gonna continue to play this Days of Our Lives fucking stories and drama shit? Play this Broadway show shit. Keep playing this shit out and dragging the fans along like some motherfucking puppets and shit. Do y'all think they gonna continue to do that? Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.